Hi Collective, welcome to the channel. I'm Crystal, a divine messenger, delivering messages to you from the higher realms. Welcome in everyone. So it's going to be a second reading that I'm doing for today. I feel to call it like part 2 because it's going to be going off the first one that I gave earlier, right? Where I was disclosing a lot about like the corruption, where we know so much has been manipulated and controlled through AI, through technology, especially, the waves that are getting sent out into these devices, they really affect your thought form, right? What I was getting right before this, where I was like, what do you want me to give this on? What am I going to be doing? Because now I feel as though tarot can be corrupted, oracle can be corrupted, but really anything can be, right? It's all about the coding, right? Finding out that like the coding amongst the tarot, right, and the major arcana, right, is really guiding you down towards that coding, that specific, you know what I mean? And also I was getting earlier about like horoscopes, right? Like certain, like they put us in these categories. Like, yeah, you're born under a certain sign, that's your sun sign, right? But then it's like they kind of put everybody in these factions in these certain categories, and like you're supposed to, like, if you read into your horoscopes and your astrology, or you're very well versed on those things, then you start to a corporate life, like you start to be acting that way. Like whether you realize or not, the programming that's been put on your subconscious mind, right, to allow you to feel that way. It's just like me knowing I'm a Cancer sun. So then I've had this mindset like, yeah, I'm always going to be in this motherly energy. I'm always going to be very caring, kind, compassionate, but I'm also going to be very vulnerable. I'm going to be very shy. I'm going to be very, you know what I mean, soft and things like that, which having that, because I was drawn to astrology from a very young age, right? So it was like, I just always knew that. So it's like, I always like told myself that, right? Where it actually affected me being able to have the strength and the courage that I need, right? So I was investigating the different like astrology signs and the different things and the different weaknesses, where really it's all about the programming, and they didn't maximize the potential of those. And really, like, you know what I mean? Like, you need to look more at the strengths and more of the things, and it's kind of breaking out of like this certain programming that you may have. Right? And it's like I always tell people too, like, you shouldn't be running just off of your sun sign. You should definitely get an astrological reading and take a look into your birth placement, your birth chart, actually looking at what really rules you. Like, when I finally looked into my chart and I realized that when you look at your sun, your rising, your moon, your Venus, like, where was planet Venus when you were born? Where was the moon? What was rising? Where, all of these different aspects. So when I started to see Leo, how many different placements that I had within Leo, and realizing that I'm actually a Cancer Leo cusper because of where my birthday was, and I didn't even know that. I was like, wow, well then I definitely operate more in Leo energy than I do Cancer, right? And when I started to investigate what more of a Leo energy was like, I was like, oh wow, that seems more like how I want to be. And then all of a sudden I shifted. And I'll never forget when I did, right? When I was in my early 30s, and then all of a sudden I started to let the passionate side, it was almost like then my shadow side started to come out. Then I could start to defend myself and stand up, and really using that energy. I'll just never forget the time that completely shifted for me, and it was really accessing dormant parts of my birth chart that I didn't even know. And I'm hearing for somebody, like for some of you, you might not even have the correct birth time, okay, or birthday for that matter. So you could be going off of your birth chart, right, and it's not even in alignment with you. Like, for the longest time too, like, and I could be talking about me as well, is for some of us, where a lot of us really are chosen ones, right, where our true lineages and stuff were hidden from us. A lot of us chosen ones were moved around, whether we were adopted, abandoned, put into placements within homes to experience trauma and turmoil and to get broken. Some of us were pulled by secret societies. Some of us were put into different like testing. Some of us were like had different, like, because they knew who we were, right? Like some of us had certain testings where you could have been pulled aside in school, right, and been analyzed and evaluated, right, because they knew who the ones were. And even if you weren't like, say you don't even relate with the part that I'm talking about, like, you with your birth family and things like that, but maybe some of the tests that were ran in school, maybe you hit certain levels, right, that's really, there's just so much coding and things that they do, like, you don't even realize. It's like they label a lot of us I feel to tell you already, there's going to be a lot of different things that are coming across this level of bright. I'm definitely like multidimensional, like been getting different things from different levels of vibrational frequency. Not all of you are going to be at the level of understanding of the certain transmissions and the things that are going to come through. I keep hearing Black Mirror too. There's something very much about, like, haven't you noticed, like, all the devices, right, that they're all black mirrors, right? And black mirrors, what are they used for, right? For scrying and things like that, right, where they're able to access you. There's something about, like, you're getting access a lot through your devices. And I know it's interesting because I'm like, how am I going to give this out when, especially, like, I'm putting it out there on a device. Like, I know you're watching this on a device, right? Where literally, like, you know what I mean? And they're like portals. Like, if you know about scrying and everything, like, you go into, like, you go in, right? And it's kind of like that's what you're doing and you're accessing it, whether you realize it or not, is everybody's, like, accessing and going into, like, portals and different dimensions and things like that within the devices, within the phones. And it's kind of the same thing. So for some of you, like, you have watchers that are watching you, that are accessing your consciousness, are getting in and kind of planting seeds and doing things, and it might not even be just from, like, this realm, if that makes sense. That's what I mean. This is going to go, like, multidimensional with things that are coming out, especially when I'm channeling, because I've got a lot of different guides that are coming through. So take whatever you feel is for you. Any part that's not fitting, just leave that out for another. Maybe I planted a seed and it's going to activate something within you and it's going to lead you down another path of discovery later. So there's all these hidden things that are starting to come out, okay, about corruption, about things leading you towards different ways. So what I was getting, they're bringing me back. Let me come back down a little bit. Okay, so you need to be careful about the confirmations that you're receiving. For a lot of the spiritual community, I've noticed they run off of others. They run off of the algorithms, especially if you're one where you're using, like, the algorithms, where you're looking for the keywords and the hits. Like, hey, I could do that too. I've downloaded the software before. I know how to look at what trending videos are. I know how to put in the trending keywords, and I could associate those with my titles and get my videos up there and the trending and all that. But that's not what this is about. That's what I mean. So be careful about the ones that you may follow. For some of you, you may be following certain leaders or certain people that you feel are in higher positions, but really they're just manipulating and controlling you. Like I've talked about, like the readers that start their videos out with an invocation. It's really kind of a hypnotic thing that they're doing, and they're actually really pulling on your energy, right? And they're really planting certain frequencies and things to, like, need you to, it's like they're energy harvesting, okay? There's some people, I don't even think they realize that they're doing it because they think that that is what you need to do. And you know what? It is important to have, like, an invocation. And you know what? They were bringing me that a little bit earlier. It was like, maybe I should be opening up my videos with invocations, because certain, like, you need to have protection before you get into using divinationary tools, especially, like, with the tarot and things like that, because you could literally have entities that are coming through your devices, and literally just when you're recording or just when you're by your computer or whatever, and they could be coming in and leading you towards certain different things. So I've been seeing how some of my beautiful readers that I'd be watching or connecting with, right, and then I can see their energy shifting with certain decks that they're using, certain cards, and I'm like, what is going on here? Why are they getting hijacked and they're not even realizing what is going on here? So it's like, for some of you, you don't even realize that you're being hijacked, that there's certain frequencies, there's certain levels, there's certain things that are pulling you in, right? And like I said, like when somebody explained to me, like, the tarot and the major arcana, right, like especially the rider weight, okay, the standard, like, it's got like think about, like, sigils, hieroglyphics, like the certain imagery, the certain things are pulling on certain things within the programming, which could really be leading you down a certain way. Okay, so they are encoded. It's like, in a way, it's like they knew how to corrupt. They knew what we were going to be using, right? So there's a lot of stuff that's just been infiltrated, right, and getting used in the wrong way. And I really don't like how I felt pulled to get it. Like, I was always wanting to, I like all of the new age and all of the new created decks, right? And even though you can have these new meanings that go off of them, but bringing back the original, the different meanings and stuff, but not getting pulled into, like, guys, I'm trying to figure all of this out. Like, really, the programming, it's like, it kind of limits you. Like I was talking about, like, with the with the horoscopes, right? And how it limits you in a certain thing. Like, especially if people are just going off the traditional meanings of the major arcana, right? It can really impact your reading. Like, I remember when I first started out with tarot and I didn't fully know the correct ways to use the reversals. And I would start to pause and look them up. Sometimes I would run with the video and I wouldn't look them up, and I'd look them up after and I'd be like, oh my gosh, that could have drastically impacted the way I gave that reading or that advice, right? Just because I was reading a card in a certain way or whatever. So that really got me hesitant about doing like personal readings and things like that for people, because I'm like, what if that happens while I'm doing like a personal reading? You know what I mean? Instead of collective, right? Because it's like, if you feel that something is not resonating with you, like, don't take it. Like, that's something that I realized where I was in a reading and it's like I was getting the pings and the confirmations, and then something was said and I was like, is this for me? And I immediately felt like, oh, hell no. Right? That darkness, like, you really have to trust what you're feeling with the readings that you're receiving, because there's a lot, like, I can't even tell you, like, especially with the things that pull and grab, right? Like, you really kind of feel like, you really feel to kind of take in everything, especially when something is starting to relate and resonate with you. It's hard for you to be like, yeah, this is fitting, and then like a wrench gets thrown in, and then it's like you could literally believe that and be led off path. And okay, so it's like, but at this point, like, it might not even be like the reader that you're connecting with, or it might not even, it could literally be external forces and things like that, that they see that you're starting to go down a path of like awakening, of discovery, of activating certain things for you to evolve, to reach higher levels within your life. Is that's why most of us are here, right? Or that was our plan and our intent, to come in to help everybody reach higher levels of your soul growth, right? And you know, that's really why it's all rigged and everything, because they didn't want us to fully have access to all of our skills, our gifts, our abilities, to really break free from this control matrix, right? So especially like if you're on point for those things, then you're going to be getting attacked and things like that. This is why, like, I always wanted, like, I knew that like my platforms needed to run like under the radar whatever, and I knew that it was Source's way of protecting me, right, from all those attacks and all of those things, right? Okay, hold on. So sorry, I'm getting distracted enjoying my soda. I don't drink soda all the time, but around certain times I do. I felt to call that because I don't always like to promote like soda and things like that. So anyway, okay, wow. So there's just a lot of discoveries, a lot of things. Like, you really have to trust what you're feeling, because there's so much that's being tainted, that is being manipulated, controlled. Like, what distracted me from that I was going to talk about right before I started this was inner monologue. Okay, the thoughts that run within your mind. An inner monologue is also known as an internal dialogue of self-talk. It refers to the thoughts that run through your mind, often described as a conversation with yourself. It plays a significant role in language development. Like, and that's something that I'll do a lot, is like I affirm things, because I know that I'm affirming them in the ethereal realm as well, because I know how powerful my words are. So a lot of times, like, I'm affirming things and saying them. So maybe for some of you, you need to have more self-practice. Like, they were leading me to this, that it says about 30 to 50% of people regularly experience inner monologue, while others may not have this experience at all. So that means like 50 to 80% of people don't use this, because they're set on programming. They make you think that if you're talking out loud, you're talking to yourself, that you have a mental illness and things like that, where really it's a sign of genius or whatever anyways, because you're already running on higher levels. Especially if you're able to do those things, you are connecting with your higher self, you are actually affirming things, you're in this creative energy. You got to remember, y'all, everything that they were teaching everybody was to fit them into a box, right? That's why they really try to take your creativity, and that's why the ones that were showing very, very creative ways, they were trying to shut them down. Like, I will never forget this. Like, when it finally hit me, when for like my children and stuff, for the school system, like how flawed it is, right? Like I'll never forget this. It was my daughter it was my first daughter. I believe it was like 2nd or 3rd grade. And she came home crying and upset because she had gotten like a D- on a art project, on like an art assignment. It was something she was coloring. Now, mind you, this is an elementary school. This is 2nd or 3rd grade. And she was in art class where you're creative, you're that was always supposed to be like the funnest thing, where you're getting to use your creativity. Anyway, listen to this, okay? So it was a picture that she got to color of Santa Claus, and literally everybody in the class was just given like an empty picture of Santa. It didn't have like the color by number or anything like that. It was literally just a picture of Santa, and they were told to color Santa. You know, I don't know if the direction was given, color Santa as Santa really appears, which that's what she was so upset about, is she was supposed to color Santa, she said, the real way, the way that Santa is what she wanted, whatever. You know, so anyway, so they expected, you know, Santa to have the red coat, you know, to have the white beard, to have the red hat, to have, you know what I mean, what Santa looked like. Well, anyway, she's a star child. She's a rainbow child, right? Full of creativity. She rainbow colored this whole picture. Santa was completely rainbow. And I don't mean like one arm red, one arm blue. You know what I mean? Things like that. Like, she took the time and color coded Santa like a freaking rainbow. Like if she's seen the aura of Santa vibrating in every color, which my daughter sees auras, mind you, which I always knew that she did, right? Because she would just say things when she was so like, Mom, why is that person pink? Why are they whatever? Because she'd see the auras around people, right? And there are, those are the crystalline energies. I was showing me she was seeing the aura of Santa, and I've always explained to her too, you know, that the okay, what do they want me to go with this? But anyway, so she had rainbow colored Santa. You know, she had done the picture. And anyway, but she was so upset because her teacher gave her a D- because she didn't follow directions and she didn't color Santa correctly. And that's when I knew, right, that no, you know what I mean? Like, and even though I know on a higher level, like, she was seeing auras and coloring, you know, of it, like, because she always follows directions or whatever, but just even aside from, like, stealing the creativity, and, like, that is what they do. And that's not the first incidents that I had. I can't tell you how many times she'd be so creative with projects and things, and she wouldn't get, because it's like they know that the children that are creative and want to break the mold and do things, it's like the teachers are programmed to cut them down, that they don't want. It's like their way to expose the divergence, right? They don't want them to be different, right? Where the school systems are to control, to put everybody into certain categories and factions, and they do not like the divergence, right? Of this realm, the star children, right? Where a lot of them, then why do you think they get coded and then they get drugged and dosed? That's why I never wanted my children, you know what I mean, to get labeled having autism, having ADHD, having those things, and incorporating those medicines to drug them, to suppress them. But that's what they do, right? Okay. But anyway, this is going at little levels and stuff, right? So anyways, I don't even know how I got in the school system and the creativity and the suppression thereof. Right. Oh, but that's what I feel like they could be doing with some of you. Like, if you're feeling as though, like, you're looking for certain ways, you're comparing yourself to certain things, like, you need to remember all of that suppression is not normal. It's all oppression. It's all, and it's coming from your devices. It's coming through your families, your friends. Like, they're getting hijacked by the system to suppress you. If you can think it, you can create it. If you have a thought, if you have an idea, if you have something that you want to create, run with it. Go with it, especially if it's authentic and nobody has done it before. Remember that we are all connected. So if you just be thinking stuff up and you're not doing it, you're going to be giving that thought, that form to somebody else to do, and that's a beautiful thing as well, right? I love when I have seen others run with ideas that I have. I'm like, yes, because I know that I have been very, very busy raising my children and navigating life and helping others, and I've been fine being off on the sidelines helping others to reach their levels, right? But So, and I was getting something about the OGs and the originals, right? And for some of you, like I was saying, like with that inner monologue, right? And confirming things with yourself, not looking for outside validation, looking for these things from within, affirming these things within. Okay, I only have like 3 minutes available in this reading. I was talking before about the times are significant. You could look them up. Each reading's a little bit different. So I have 2340 available, and I'm at 2011 at the moment. Right? Okay, so what I'm getting at is that I love all of the new age decks, the oracles, the things like that. I really feel that you should run with them, and I'm kind of leaning more towards those instead of the traditional, the structurized tarot. Maybe you're going to get ideas to read tarot oracle in a new way, in a new light, or do things, but this is about breaking out of the mold. Be careful of the strongholds. But see, a lot of the original OGs, like, we know that we need time and meditation, and I think that's why more stronger we feel to break away, to not, we don't want to incorporate with all the new ways. I think because we knew that. Like I said, I don't use the algorithms and the platforms to tie everything in, to get what's trending, to whatever, to get up there. And it's like, so maybe you need to spend some more time where you disconnect from electronic devices, you get out in nature, you meditate, you do more of that inner monologue, that more of that connecting with your thoughts, communicating, affirming things in this ethereal realm, right? So, all right, so with that said, I'm gonna leave all that. I know I was exposing a lot of stuff and then my thoughts and feelings, right? All right, so I wanted to play with some cards as well, as I did get some new decks, right? Being Cancer season. So I felt guided to getting the Tangled Love because I wanted to connect with more of these romance decks that I see a lot of readers use, right? But it's very important that I can see. It's very, very important that you use your discernment and what you feel, because when you're pulling in on collective energies, you could be pulling on collective things and you don't want to go. Like, this deck is split like half and half. Half the deck is very, very beautiful, explaining beautiful, like, heart healing, reconnections, reconciliations, coming together, soulmates, beautiful energies. And then the other half is like karmic, ex, cheater, deceiver, liar, whatever. So anyways, like, it was really beautiful. I was testing it on my lover a few days ago or whatever, seeing how it's really relating with the current energies that I was feeling. So I was doing it off of my energy, I was doing it off of his energy, and I was seeing that it was a perfect match, that it did come out perfectly with the true authentic energies of both. So I can see very much how you can connect with them. They are very, very powerful. So I'm not saying that like all the stuff's corrupted, right? But I do know that they're traditional, especially if it was printed by a company from Masonics, right? And I was getting, I think, the Rider-Waite. There's something about that, right? That maybe there was some sort of, like, especially if they were into occultism, and they could have encoded certain things and certain sigils, certain things encoded within certain cards, right? It's interesting because I've always been guided away from the traditional and more towards the fun new age creators, but then I was guided to this one for a little while, and I was talking about that in my last reading, how when I was I was feeling to use it under the moon, times that I was starting to work outside under the moonlight, and I used to be completely against that because of all the dark spirits and everything that run around at night. But then I was guided under the moon to start doing readings, and I used to never do that. So there's something about that. Like, I felt like I was guided, almost coerced into doing that. So anyway, I got like 5 seconds left. Take a look at the surrounding readings. Bye.